Hi YouTube, what's going on? It's Kaiger1324. Finally got round to just sorting everything out to do the greatest PS2 games, excuse me, the greatest PS2 games in my opinion. Now, a while ago I did Hidden Gems on the PS2, and I've tried to keep most of the games from that video out of this video, and this is purely games that I think deserve high recognition and are just go above and beyond and are considered some of the best on the system. And if you're looking to buy a PS2 or you have a PS2 but you don't know which games to get, these are only a few. This is going to be parts of this video. If you want to see what I've had to do just to get these few games out, I've had to sort of make all that there to get to that container at the bottom, excuse me, with my PS2 stuff in there. So there's not that many for this part, because some of the games in here I just wanted to throw in as part of, if they're part of a trilogy, and I think it's easier to talk of them as part of a trilogy. Other games in here are part of maybe a trilogy of games, but each individual excuse me, the individual games are worth talking about. Let's just go over the first trilogy of games, the Call of Duty trilogy on PS2. Finest Hour, Big Red 1 and 3. Before Call of Duty really got mainstream and what it is today, despite I really don't like Call of Duty anymore, me and Ryan had a massive discussion on it yesterday, and we'll probably do a video of our discussions and stuff like that, which I think be quite interesting to see. But before they got mainstream, they were just known as PC games. Obviously, Finest Hour was the first ever one on console, but Call of Duty, the original, was only on PC at the time, and then recently came out on Xbox 360 and stuff as a downloadable game. Well, not recently, but within the last few years. I think I've only played these two. I think I may have played part of this, but what really made these games memorable and great is the fact that World War II shooters were, you know, were a big thing on the PS2. It seemed like PS2 era, there were a lot of World War II shooters, like an Atari. There were so many space shooters and stuff like that. But I'm a big fan of World War II games, and the Call of Duty series is probably the go-to series on the PS2. Probably the best ones on the PS2 in my opinion. Just due to it has a nicer lengthy campaign, and you know, a nice selection of weapons and stuff like that. I won't be doing reviews on these games. This is just me going over why I think they're great. I might do individual reviews on some of these games one day. Next we have a series that needs to be revived, Prince of Persia. So Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and the Two Thrones. Prince of Persia, at least the first two, in my opinion, are some of the best action adventure games on the PS2, because I personally think that Prince of Persia is sort of like Assassin's Creed before Assassin's Creed, in terms of the running on walls and stuff like that. The Two Thrones sort of changed it a little bit and made it more like a God of War clone, in my opinion, but it's still a fantastic game and some really good graphics for the PS2. But I really do highly recommend the Prince of Persia games. They are some of the most fun, and they're quite challenging, but a lot of people say that the best one is the Sands of Time. I do like the Sands of Time, but Warrior Within is probably my favourite of this trilogy. Still, a nice series that needs to be revived one way or another. Next we have the Need for Speed trilogy. I personally, I do probably do have the first Underground somewhere, but I can't find it. But I like to consider this the trilogy, the Need for Speed Underground 1, 2 and Most Wanted. I believe were the first three. But Need for Speed, I don't like how Need for Speed is what it's like anymore. It's more of a racing simulator game. Whereas before, what made these games so great was it was about tuner cars, as in like cars like street racing cars and stuff. And Most Wanted is probably my favourite of one of my favourite racing games of all time. But Underground, the original, which I probably do have under my bed somewhere, I'm not sure, is probably one of the first racing games that really got me into racing games. And a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of at least these the Underground ones, but I really do like Most Wanted as well. And let me just tell you something, Most Wanted, if you want to get the better Most Wanted, get this version. Do not get the remake version that they made, I think about 2 years ago. You can, I think this is also on Xbox 360, but I'm not sure. But get this version because it's so much better. Next, we've got another World War II game, Medal of Honor. Medal of Honor Frontline and Medal of Honor Rising Sun. Before, I was more... I know Call of Duty sort of won the war between Medal of Honor and Call of Duty, but I used to love playing Medal of Honor Rising Sun, and Frontline's pretty good as well, but it's more of a single player game. This one had some had co-op campaign, it had a multiplayer mode where you can fight bots, and it's just a really, really fun game. Nothing amazing now, but it's still a pretty good game. And Medal of Honor, in my opinion, is sort of sort of died now. Obviously owned by EA, but before EA turned into arseholes, they used to make quality games, and these were some of them. I didn't mind the Medal of Honor, the DICE Medal of Honor games, but they just felt too much like Battlefield to me. Next we have, because I do have the other ones, but I'll talk about, I'll consider those a different thing. The Sims and the Herbs. I do have the Sims busting out, but I'll probably talk about that a little bit more. I'm a big fan of the Sims on PC. The original Sims is my favourite Sims game of all time. The original from the 1990s, I believe. It might have been 2000, I'm not sure. But I love the PS2 versions. I consider them to be sort of like an upgraded version of the normal one, but it's its own game because it has a story mode on it, which is awesome, because the PC ones don't have the story mode on it, but obviously in the PC ones you can do a lot more with your game. And yeah, I really like the Sims, but the Herbs is I think I put this in my Hidden Gems video, but it's a really fun game. You get to, it's not really much in terms of customization wise, it's sort of lacking on that, but you get to sort of go around the city and go to different places and do jobs and things. So it's a pretty unique game, and I think these two, at least these two, deserve a little shout out. They're really good games, fun to play, two player, and the fact that it has a story mode to it just makes it it's worth having the PS2 version of the game. Excuse me. Next we have the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 4 and Underground 1. These, in my opinion, are the best Tony Hawk games on the PS2. Some people like number 3. I don't think I've played number 3 a lot, but these are in my opinion, are the best Tony Hawk games on that system. I used to love playing skateboarding games. Tony Hawk Pro Skater 5 apparently was a pile of shit. I haven't played it. I might get it if I find it cheap when I get my Xbox One. But these are fantastic games. They're just so much fun to play with multiple players and just go around. And I really like Underground because there's levels where you can drive cars and that, and like the hidden characters, like you could be Gene Simmons on this one, I believe, and you could be Boba Fett on the, or not Boba Fett, Jango Fett on this one. And they're just extremely fun games. They're great. Underground 2 is pretty good, but I think they just went a bit over the top with some of the characters. And obviously the other Pro Skaters are really good as well, apart from 5. And American Wasteland and Project 8 they're okay, but they're not as good as these two. Next we have Grand Theft Auto 3 and the Vice City and Liberty City stories. I just threw these two in here because these are the PSP remakes for the PS2. They're considered to be better than the PSP ones because obviously the controls are a bit better. But I threw them in here because I think San Andreas and Vice City deserve their own little thing, and I haven't got them out yet. But Grand Theft Auto 3, definitely one of the and definitely will be in the top 100 games of all time, normally around about between the 40 to 60 mark. It is a truly great game, and it really marks the era in gaming where gaming went about sort of, you know, it sort of went away from the whole linear gameplay. I'm sure this wasn't the first game to have non-linear gameplay, you know, Zelda and stuff like that, but this was the first sort of one that really made it about doing what the fuck you want to do. But I really think that if you've never played Grand Theft Auto 3, you need to play it. I know you probably played 5, but you need to go back and play Grand Theft Auto 3 because it's a fantastic game. Graphics maybe not up to par with 5, but obviously this one was you know, came out in 2000, so or 2001, so it's but this marks the time in gaming where a lot of people came to games because of this game, and it was one of the greatest games on the PS2 and still is today. Next we have actually no, I can't say a lot about this one, but I'll just put it in here because I know it's a great game. Burnout, the Burnout 3 Takedown, really fun racing game. A lot of the crash mode apparently is amazing. I haven't played this game. I don't think I've played the original Burnout, but I shouldn't have put this in here. But still, a nice mention, an honourable mention, if you want to call it that. This was in my Hidden Gems video, but I need to mention it because I think it really is one of the best hack and slash story games on the PS2. Spartan Total Warrior, made by Sega. It really is a fun game. It's it's almost like if you took Dynasty Warriors but took away the over-the-top elements of Dynasty Warriors. This is a really fun game. It comes highly recommended. It's definitely a hidden gem, that's for sure. But I totally think this game deserves a lot of praise, and it's, you know, I won't talk about it a lot because I've already talked about it before. But I thought I'd put it in here because it is a great game and deserves the spot. Next we have SSX on Tour, or the SSX games in general. These are great fun snowboarding games, arcade-ish, fast-paced, You know, you can do a lot of tricks going down the going down the mountains at fast speeds. I'm not sure if I played this one or 3. I know I played on SSX and I loved it to pieces. These are extremely good games. They're great. Definitely highly recommend the SSX games. I know this is Tekken Tag Tournament. It's one of my favourite fighting games of all time, but I don't think I have any other Tekken games. But I need to put Tekken, mention Tekken in some way or another. Tekken is obviously, Tekken 3 was one of the most common games on the PS1, but Tekken is a fantastic fighting game. It's Namco's fighting game, and Tekken Tag Tournament is probably my favourite because it was the first the first game that I ever played that really had the old I know it probably wasn't the first one, but it was the first one I ever played that had the drop two characters. You could switch between them in the middle of a fight, and the Tekken games are great. A lot of these companies like Namco, Tecmo, stuff like that, they have their go-to game, and Tekken is a fantastic one. This one's also made by Namco. Soul Calibur 2. Soul Calibur 2 is like Tekken, but more, but with maybe a bit more characters that have weapons and stuff. It's a bit more fast-paced than Tekken, and Soul Calibur 2 is a game that you need to have on all 3 systems, because obviously GameCube get Link, I think PS2 you get him, I can't remember his name, Hinderark or something like that, Heinrich or something. I think he's the exclusive character for this one, and the Xbox you get Spawn, I believe. Or so Soul Calibur 2 is a really good fighting game. It gets tough pretty fast, but it's a really good one. I'm speeding up a little bit because I don't want the video to be too long. Probably one of the best Simpsons games of all time, most noticeable. Simpsons Hit and Run, the game that everyone says is GTA for kids, but when you get older you realise the track is one big circuit. Sorry if I ruined your childhood there, but it's a truly fantastic game, very challenging, but everyone who's had a PS2 or a console from that era has played Simpsons Hit and Run. A great game, a must own and a must play, even if you're not a Simpsons fan. But if you're not a Simpsons fan, come on, everyone loves Simpsons. Maybe not the new Simpsons, but at least the old ones. Next we have another Namco game, Time Crisis 2, or Time Crisis in general. I believe 3 was also on PS2, might be wrong. Time Crisis is probably one of the most common arcade light gun games you'll ever find, but the PS2 one is just like the arcade one. Obviously you need an old TV to play the with the G-Con, but the Time Crisis needs to be mentioned because it's a fantastic arcade shooter and it's a fantastic PS2 game, almost identical to the arcade version. Another hidden gem that I've mentioned, Cell Damage Overdrive, one of my favourite games of all time. A fantastic game. It's like Twisted Metal for kids, but it isn't for kids because there's a lot of adult themes in the game, but they do it in a cartoonish way. So I played this game a ton as a kid, and even playing it now it's just so much fun to play. You know, I love the mode where you smack attack, it's called, where you just fight each other. You get a bunch of different weapons, stupid weapons like guns, chainsaws, baseball bats, boxing gloves, which are the best weapon, surprisingly. Really fun game, amazing to play with multiple players. I've only played it with 2 players, but I'd love to get 3 other people and I get a multi-tap and play this because it would be so much fun. Next we have Serious Sam, the next encounter, but obviously it doesn't matter which one you talk about because they're very similar. It's just a game where you go around, kill a bunch of enemies, and that's pretty much it. It's a lot of fun, these games. I have the HD version, which I think comes with the first one and the second one on the Xbox 360. But Serious Sam must be a game that you need to mention because it's a great game. It's a lot of fun. It's just so much. It's just going around killing so many enemies, and it's just a lot of fun. And I'd probably be hated if I didn't mention this in one of my videos. Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty, or Metal Gear Solid 2. Of course, Hideo Kojima is one of the greatest video game, I think creators or designers, I'm not sure. I have all of the Metal Gear Solids, at least on the PS2 and the PS1 and the PS3. This is a fantastic game. If you've never played Metal Gear Solid, it's one of the greatest stealth games of all time. In fact, it's the game that really created stealth games. Without Metal Gear Solid, there wouldn't be Splinter Cell, there wouldn't be Manhunt, there wouldn't be all these stealth games. Metal Gear Solid 2, some people like it, some people don't like it, because obviously you only play as Snake for the first half an hour of the game or so, but it's these games are well known for having some of the best cutscenes in games. Pretty much the games, at least the early Metal Gear Solid 1 to 4, the cutscenes are much longer than the gameplay sometimes. It truly is a fantastic game. Emotional, you get emotionally attached to these games. But Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty, some people don't like it, but it still has some great boss fights in it, has some great characters in it, a great story to it. Technically this is in the timeline is the second from last in the series. Metal Gear Rising is the last in the Metal Gear series, because obviously this is based in the future. So in the timeline this is second from last. It's a really good game. Tough game, gets quite tough pretty fast. But if you don't mention Metal Gear Solid in the greatest games of any PlayStation console, then I don't know. You obviously don't know your PlayStation. But Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty, fantastic game. One of the greatest on the PS2. Of course, there will be the other one in my next part, but for now this has been part 1 of my greatest PS2 games. I will probably do part 2 today, but I don't know. I might do it tomorrow. I'll probably do it tomorrow actually, because I can put all this stuff away and then play some more games. I've been playing I started Max Payne 3 yesterday. I actually forgot how challenging that game is, but yeah, I'm playing through that again. So because that was the next game on my list. And then I can see the next one up there is Afro Samurai, and then the underneath that is the dreaded Duke Nukem Forever, which isn't that bad of a game. It's bad in a lot of senses with the controls and the glitches, but it still represents Duke Nukem quite well, and that's something they got right. It represents Duke Nukem quite well as a character. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this part of the video. I will be doing it, like I said, part 2 will be coming tomorrow probably. If there's any games that you think deserve recognition, feel free to comment. Again, these games I've only meant talking about games that I own, and games that I've played, because it allows me to talk about them. So there won't be games like Final Fantasy in here, but I will give an honourable mentions at the end of the last video. Just games that I know deserve some recognition, so don't hate me. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.